So today I've got some cheap paper down. I've got a reference book in front of me because basically I've not been able to go over to France to see the real item, and I just want to work from a reference today. I'm going to be using the Derwent Lightfast. The reason for picking those pencils is because, as I found out, these have got the colours that will be in this drawing. The Lightfast set basically has no brights. It's all muted tones, and that's exactly what I want. So, colours that I'm going to pick, let's see. It's actually quite a hard one. I'm going to be drawing something that I really actually enjoy drawing. Not everybody would like this sort of thing, but for me it's just practicing a skill. I'm not going to go major detail, though the photo would allow me that. Let's see, I will need a red. You can probably see by the fact I'm picking lots of browns and yellows. Yeah, I think this is male, so it's not going to have... I'll take a grey. Right, I'll grab. These trays are a nightmare, these plastic trays. I'll take that one and that one, definitely, that looks the right tone. And I don't want blues. Actually, maybe a little bit. Only a tiny bit in one part of it. So a few years ago I had the chance to go to a special museum. It was absolutely amazing, but rule was no photos and stuff. This is another type of special museum which I'm hoping to one day go to. It's just finding time off of work and that sort of thing. Right, I think that one, and I've got just looking for my darkest darks. I don't want to use black in this because there's not really any black, but I will use dark reds. I think that will cover it. I think that's enough. Right, and then let's yeet this over here. So yeah, cheap paper, because this isn't going to be a majorly heavy sketch. So got my Derwents. That's also why I'm not going expensive paper. These are very soft, so I can get a lot of coverage down on them. All I've got to do is just quickly take off a couple of them's wax coatings. Right. Come on, pencils. Right. And let's begin. I'm going to go the sand coloured. Right, this is a freehand sketch, so things are going to be in the wrong place. It's not going to be perfect, but it is simply doing it for the love of art. Or a art. Right. And in all honesty, I actually don't know where to start. Do you guys ever get it where there's so much detail that you're stuck on where to even make your first marks? And it's that fear of knowing, putting down those first few marks onto your paper and thinking, oh, if I do this wrong, I'm going to stuff it up. So, trying to get through that fear. But the way I'm looking at this is the image I'm using has got a lot of lights and darks. So I'm going to just start by basically blocking in my lights and my darks. And hope, upon hope, it comes together. This image I'm working from also has a huge amount of foreshortening. Which also, if I get my lights and darks right, then that will create the illusion of the depth of perception. And you've probably already worked out what I'm drawing just by these first few little diddly bits. So I'm just blocking in the shapes Like I say, they're not going to be perfect. But I suppose the best thing about this is this subject is very to the individual. I think that's actually the right angle. You'll see me making little odd lines. It's just to check my lines. I don't know why, because this is going to be a rough sketch. Oh, that's why that. That's got to go there. Last time I drew something like this was actually in the museum, and I didn't do too well. So actually I can tell you a funny story while I'm doing this. So the year before the Big C broke out, I got the chance to go to a specialist museum in London. I basically won the right to go as a artist. So my parents, because I was at work, went and got the tickets for me, which was really, really decent. That was at the local train station. And because I'm not great at travelling around London, my dad accompanied me because he had some business in London anyway, so it all worked out nicely. We get on the train and poodle along 4 odd hours later, and it was a busy, busy, busy train. We get checked by the onboard staff, you know, ticket please. We give over the ticket, they look at it, yep, no problem, on we go. And we get to London. We get to the gates to go through from the train platform straight through so we can head to Piccadilly. Barriers won't open. I try my ticket, my dad tries his ticket, and we're like, why won't the barriers open? So we go and get a guard, and luckily there's some lovely guards on site. Try not to look dodgy in front of the armed police, as you do. And he turns around and says, these tickets aren't valid. They were for the day before. And we'd spent 200 odd quid on the tickets. So you can imagine, was not a happy bunny. But it wasn't the guy's fault at the end of the day. It was the person at the local train station who'd stuffed up. And so we said, is there any way that we can rectify this? And the answer was, no, got to buy a brand new ticket. So another 200 quid, and then that was excluding the underground. And by this time I'm panicking because I've literally got like 20 minutes to get to Piccadilly, get into the location, book in, and do all the ID checks and everything else. And I was just like, this day cannot get any worse. So we re-buy the tickets and then had to pay every single underground station that we went through. We were scurrying everywhere. We got to the building. And could we find the entrance to the building? No. And we ended up only walking around the whole building and eventually found it. And I literally dived in. I was exhausted. I was stressed. And I joined a group of other girls who were there. In fact, the weird thing was it was all girls. And we all signed in. We all did our ID checks, everything. And we went in, and I remember that we had to go to the absolute top floor of this building, and then you kind of walked your way down. And we got to the first room, and the staff were on hand to help. Anything we wanted, the staff were there to help us with. And they were so nice. And the weird thing was, we were like, oh, this place is going to smell, there's going to be all sorts. And there wasn't. And we got up to the room that we were due to be in, the first one. And we walk around the corner. And we see what we see, which was what we were there for. And we all just stood there, absolutely stood. And one of the girls goes, that can't be real. That's plastic. That's not real. And it hit. And you're like, that's real. It took us all several minutes to get over kind of the shock. And we all decided we'd do a tour of the whole building and then pick who we wanted to draw and what we wanted to draw and how we wanted to draw. And it was amazing, absolutely breathtakingly amazing. I would go again. Well, if it hadn't been for the Big C, I would have happily gone again and paid the full price to get in. But because of all the stress and everything, I could not concentrate on drawing. My head was not in the game. So the sketches that I produced on the day were subpar, really, absolutely subpar. and I was embarrassed. But sadly, the big C happened. The company went bankrupt in the UK and closed, which was such a shame. The place was educational. There were private parties from schools in there, and it was nice to actually see kids who started the tour prattling around as kids do. Suddenly, when they got to certain rooms and they saw certain things, you could see everything changed. The maturity level of the children changed. There was no longer any prattling around. It was taken very seriously. The teachers were brilliant, on hand to help answer questions. They all had information sheets. But yeah. And this whole thing is now I have a morbid sense of humour, or, well, I do have a dark sense of humour, but I have a great respect for life and such. So, yeah. But I do hope to one day pop over to France, maybe to Germany, to go around some of the less known museums. And there is another one in London, but I think you have to get a private appointment. And I don't know, there's a hassle of going through London to get anywhere, and the cost. But going to that particular museum reminded me of my enjoyment of drawing the darker side of art. So right now what I'm literally doing is just mapping out what I see. As I said, this is not going to be a perfect image. What it's getting me to do though is to pay attention to what I'm seeing. So I'm not just looking down here, I'm looking forward, I'm looking left, I'm looking right. Sometimes flipping your drawing upside down can actually help rejig what you're focusing on. I think this bit's going to get simpler once I start to basically map in the darks and the lights, because right now it just looks like a jumble of spaghetti. But once I start adding all those tonal values in, it will make a lot more sense. So right now all I'm looking for is my darkest darks. I suppose the fun thing about this is that because it was injected with waxes and resins, there's a lot of little odd lumps and bumps. So even though I know what the subject looks like when I normally see it, because I'm drawing it as a historical piece, it does not look, also the way that these were preserved all those years ago, it doesn't quite look as recognisable. This comes back to never assume that you know what something looks like. So when you get told, say, draw a cheese, draw a chicken, draw a tree, don't immediately draw from your imagination. It's really, really important that you don't do that, because your imagination has got a lot of gaps in it. Honest. No, I'm being honest. So what you remember and what you put down on the paper will be completely different to if you have a photo or a reference, or you go out and actually physically see the item and draw it from life. That's because our eyes play tricks on us. So I said my brain is telling me where stuff is, but in this case it's not there, so I have to ignore my brain, which happens quite a lot, and to draw what I see. And it is a hard thing to do. That's why drawing upside down can really be a help, because it means that you can't associate the image with what you think it looks like, and you have to concentrate on the drawing. Right, so at this point I'm pretty much done. I only plan to go kind of sketchy to break it down, to show you roughly how I work. I've had a bit too much fun with this, so I'm just gonna add. So you saw I've added some dark tones, I've added some light tones, I've added some mid tones. I'm gonna add another layer of dark tones to it just to bring it more forward and make it pop more 3D. That's probably not the best pun to use. So this is going to be kind of my final layer, but hopefully it will show you where you can go with this. I might change to blue actually. No. Yes, no, we'll see. I might do 2 more layers. So this drawing was never actually meant to be anything special. It was just a pooter around and a play. And it's the spooky season, and you know, sometimes it's just nice to draw something a little bit mature. Okay, right, that's going to have to be it. Adding the blue, yes, has made the image pop more. So, as I say, I hope this has encouraged everyone to have a go at drawing, try something different, try some freehand work, try different pencils. It's been fun using the Derwent Lightfast Pencils. Their colours have matched what I was after. I would love them to be a little bit more sharper, but that's fine. So, until next time, all the best everybody, and happy drawing to you all.